Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. It's Tuesday. Alan Ruff, Neil Murray with me here to talk football. If you want to hit the subscribe button, you can join the football family. Of course, you can stream, share and subscribe with your mates. Why not do that? It's absolutely free to watch. And if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll get all the breaking football news at your fingertips. So there's lots to look forward to. Tonight on the programme, we will discuss Falkirk in the semi-finals. Rangers and Celtic go head-to-head in the other semi-final. And Steve Clarke is named his squad for the Euro 2024 qualifiers against Cyprus and Spain. We'll discuss the squad. We'll also hear from Scott Brown, who's been backing Barry Robson to become the next Aberdeen manager. Alfredo Morelos, where's he going to end up? He's staying tight-lipped on his future. And, of course, Champions League football. Manchester City still chasing that holy grail of Champions League glory. Will they do it? 2 nights of Champions League football to discuss in the company of Neil and Ruffy. So all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you're part of the team on a regular basis with all our unique video content. Let's first of all talk about the quiz and the competition. Competition first. Why not try and win this?
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend Davy Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Good prize, well worth it. Why not enter? As far as the quiz is concerned, we thought we'd put out a quiz question in relation to the Scotland squad being announced. I wonder, Ruffy, how well you know Scotland players and how many caps they've got. You know how many you've got yourself. But with Angus Gunn being included in the Scotland squad, I thought I'd ask you about his dad. How many caps did Brian Gunn achieve with the Scotland national team? You want to have a guess?
7.
8.
Oh, so you're not giving him double figures. Right, okay. Give us your guess on it. Don't bother Googling it or looking it up. There's no point. It's a bit of fun. We'll give you the answer at the end of the programme, and we'll also let you see, once again, that competition so you can get involved, and we'll announce the winner of that next Monday when we'll start another competition and a chance for you to win something really good as well. So let's look to the semi-finals. Of course, this is the draw for the Scottish Cup semi-final now. It's Rangers against Celtic and Falkirk against Inverness. And that's because Falkirk managed to secure their place, as I said they would, Ruffy, with a 2-1 win last night over Ayr. You know, I predicted all 4.
Yes, and happy for the Falkirk people who we met a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think the club's going forward in a big way. They just need to get by Dunfermline in the league, but a semi-final cup run will be fantastic. It'll be great to see 25,000 Falkirk supporters trundling along to Hampden, as we would expect, you know, once they get to a semi-final. It'll be interesting if the shout comes out, well, you can't have it at Hampden. Well, they'll fill it.
Well, we're not going to do that, surely.
I hope no. I don't know, because I'm sure the players would want to play at Hampden.
It'd be nice for the Invernessians to make the journey down as well, providing, of course, they don't do their usual, Neil, which is make it at the most inopportune time that nobody can get a train to it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's a great achievement for Inverness to reach the semi-final and potentially the final for both clubs, Inverness and Falkirk. It's a fantastic achievement, and financially it's something that will really change the fortunes of both clubs, which again, as Ruffy says, it will build a platform for next season for these teams.
Yeah, what about the game itself? I mean, Falkirk, I think Inverness will feel as, I think Ayr United, I beg your pardon, will feel as if they shot themselves in the foot on this one, Ruffy. They had the perfect chance to actually put themselves in the box seat with a penalty.
It just shows you, I thought when they scored early on, I went, well, they'll go on and win that. But I mean, when you get a chance, to do the tie-in and then 3 minutes later you lose it. The new guy, the guy that just signed, and that I would have expected him to burst the net with it, but he never. And it just shows you it's a hard one to take when you're in that dressing room.
Chris Maguire.
Chris Maguire. That wins the game for you. And then all of a sudden you're out. and it's a hard one to take.
Yeah, still, when you stand off your man as well, I mean, it was just absolutely inviting him to have a go at it as well, wasn't it, Neil?
Well, that's the thing, you know, if you give teams an opportunity, especially a home team like Falkirk, and they'll take opportunities. As Ruffy says, you know, we're in the box seat, really, you know, scoring early doors, having a penalty late in the game to make a difference and have something to hold on to. And then, yeah, well, literally within 3 minutes, switch off, and you pay the price.
Yeah, I was quite happy for Kai Kennedy, because obviously he had that feeling as if the draw's made and suddenly he's coming up against Rangers, he's not playing.
Well, surely not. You know, that's another rule that bugs me. You know, that if you go to another team, you get drawn against somebody, you can't play with them.
Yeah.
No good enough to play with us, but you're not good enough to play. I just don't get it.
If Rangers won the semi-final though, can you imagine Falkirk getting into the final and then all of a sudden Kai Kennedy has to sit it out? That would be just the worst, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's top punishment. You know, it is unfair. It is unfair because as a player, if you play each round and you get to the final on merit, you deserve to play in the final regardless of who you're playing against. I mean, ultimately, as Ruffy says, if Rangers don't deem him good enough to be part of the first team group, then why should they really be that worried about him playing against them in a cup final? I know he's a fantastic player, very talented boy, and he can make a difference, and he could potentially make Rangers pay on any given day. But if they reach the final, he would deserve to play in it.
When you were an agent, Neil, did you find yourself, and do you still find yourself, watching a game and going, right, he could play at another level? Do you go through that process in your head?
Yeah, I mean, he can do. I mean, I think everyone knows that a player like Kai Kennedy, he's always been a talented player from a young age.
Yeah. Am I being too harsh in saying, okay, you might say he's been a talented player from a young age, if he can't break into the Rangers side, he's like a raft of them that I look at and they go, okay, he's like, for example, you know, he'll move on somewhere else. I am loath to quote Billy Gilmore, because Billy Gilmore was being chased by all and sundry, and Rangers, I think, were desperate to hold on to him and get a half decent deal so they could get money for him. But Kai Kennedy's like a raft of players that you look at, you go, okay, you're going to actually eventually have to run that contract down and go somewhere else to play football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's difficult at Rangers and Celtic. Yeah. You know, there's been plenty of examples of players that have left and carved out a very good career for themselves. And, you know, given the fact, I mean, your stat of 21 Scots playing in the Premier League shows that it's not just a Rangers and Celtic issue. There's other clubs that don't play a lot of their own young players, if you like. So, but I'm pretty sure, you know, Kai Kennedy will carve a very good career for himself, and there's others that Rangers and Celtic have done so.
You just want them to get that 100, 150 games of regular football. It's very, very difficult at Celtic and Rangers, and I think what we're looking in, you know, even in the B side, you know, for Celtic or the squad itself, you're looking, you're saying to yourself, there's not many Scots that are actually going to try and push through. I think, I think Rudy Vata's son Rocco is one that they certainly have high hopes for as well. But
it's getting in, isn't it?
It's getting in. And I'm not sure where Rocco was born. I would imagine there's a good. I think there's a good shout he might have been born in Scotland. I'll check that.
And it depends what position you are, you know, because look at Celtic just now. They've got 2 players for every position, so that means you're third or fourth or fifth. You know, so you've got to sit down. I think young players have got to sit down and say, right, how long do I sit here for? Do I sit for a year? Do I sit for 2 years? My career is dwindling away. I'm not getting the games I want to get. So that's when you've got to make a decision. And 9 times out of 10, somebody down in England spots something in them because they've been brought up with a tradition of playing with Rangers and Celtic. The basics should be good and everything. So you're not actually taking a gamble on them, you know, because you know they've got something. They just can't break in to that team.
I think also, you know, an example for me would be Stephen Welsh. Whenever he's played for Celtic, I've thought he'd actually performed pretty well. But there are other players at the club that have cost more money, that potentially earn bigger salaries.
Yeah.
And every club or every team wants to improve year upon year, and that might mean new players coming in your position, which ultimately pushes you further down the queue. As Ruffy said, you know, I'm pretty sure there'd be clubs in England that'd be after a player like Stephen Welsh. But then a Celtic accommodating are they difficult to deal with when it comes to letting go of what they know is a good player, and they don't really want anybody else to have him.
Yeah, here's another twist. Here's another twist in the way football goes nowadays. So Rocco Vata, you know, his dad was Rudy Vata. Rocco was born in Glasgow, and he's a youth international for Ireland.
Okay.
So there you are. There's always a twist in the tail. So
we spoke about it yesterday. I know, like Falkirk and Inverness are together. They're not going to get the biggest of the crowds. Is the two games pooled financially? The gate money.
I would think so.
Semi-final.
Semi-finals, yeah.
The one-off. So that's a wee bonus for them.
Yeah.
You know that because there'll not be many at their game.
What do you mean?
The Celtic and Rangers attendance will be packed full.
Yes.
Do they share that gate with their gate, the Falkirk Inverness game? Do they pull the two gates together?
No.
They don't?
I wouldn't think so. No. I wouldn't think so. It's a strange question for you to ask. You always come out with a question like that.
I was saying that, because I thought if it would be pulled, I think Inverness have made the tremendous gesture. They're going to give half it at Queen's Park.
No, I think there's a distribution of the money. When you get to each stage of it from the SFA. I think that's how it works.
Prize money for each.
Prize money for each round.
Yeah.
It's the Scottish FA's tournament, Ruffy.
I think that's congratulations to Inverness donating half their money to Queen's Park.
Yeah. Don't be snidey, by the way, because remember, as you get older, the last thing you need is 2 or 3 groups hating you, Ruffy.
No, they're not going to do that.
No, exactly. They're definitely not going to do it. Listen, I like Billy Dodds' attitude to it. Who cares? I couldn't care if we're being reinstated. We're lucky. Great. Roll on. We're in.
Well, that's it. Denmark won the Euros after not qualifying. Serbia qualified, or Yugoslavia qualified, and were rejected from the tournament. So it just goes to show you, teams can be reinstated, if you like, and go far in a competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, listen, the draw, I don't know if you noticed it last night, but Colin Hendry's face when he was pulling out the balls for the draw, honestly, it was almost as if he had the weight of the world on his shoulders, desperately trying to keep Celtic and Rangers apart.
No, everybody knows what that game means now, and you either look at it either way. If you're an ideal fan, you're going to say, well, that gets them out the road in the semi-final. We don't have to worry about them in the final. So it's going to be a tremendous game. Any time they play, there's everything. We're all going to be focused on it and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And John McGlynn, I think he was happy not to get Celtic or Rangers.
Look, I think myself and Billy Dodds will be delighted that we're playing each other, and that's no disrespect. I think we would both wanted to stay away from Celtic and Rangers, and we'll manage to do that. I thought on Friday night, Inverness were different class against Kilmarnock. I thought they played really well. Billy's got a lot of his players back, and when he gets his players back, they're a right good side.
Just wondering who your money's on there in that one, because Falkirk haven't played too many teams of higher quality, but they're getting past them all. They got past Darvel, which was one of those ties where everybody was talking about the romance of Darvel after they dumped Aberdeen.
No, I think he touched on it there, quite honestly. At the beginning of the season, and a good part of the season, Inverness were looking to be relegated, and Billy's been on record saying he's nearly the full first team out injured, and quite rightly so he has. But he's beginning to get them back one by one, and I think they're nearly there. I think the captain Welsh come back at the weekend there, so they'll be strong. But I wouldn't see them going in against Falkirk and running over the top of them. I think it'll be an evenly matched game, and on your day you take your chances. Yeah,
I did predict Falkirk. I just have this feeling that Inverness might be too strong for them, although listen, a bit of sympathy for Ayr United. They got to the quarter-finals, great credit to them. I think Lee Bullen now has other matters to focus on for Ayr United.
I've just said to the players that we can't allow this disappointment to define our season. We've still got 9 games left in a league campaign where that group of players in there could create a massive amount of history for this football club. So we've got to deal with this pain over the next 24-48 hours. Come in on Wednesday, get our chest out, chins up, smiles on faces, and go towards our game on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good attitude, because obviously Ayr United are away to Hamilton Accies, and they want to make sure that they've got a right good chance of being in those playoffs.
Well, that's it. As Billy says, you've got 9 games to go. You win all 9 games, which is a difficult ask, but if you win all 9, there's potentially you could win the title and get promoted, which is, as he said, an unbelievable achievement and a bit of history for Ayr.
Yeah, where's your money on in the semi-finals?
It's a difficult one, they're different divisions, but effectively there's only 6 league places between them, or thereabouts. Semi-finals are always tense in any case, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Probably Inverness.
Yeah.
Probably Inverness, but again, I wouldn't see there being too much in it.
Yeah, I'm veering towards Inverness. I've been talking to a few people who played against Inverness, and they say that, you know, a good side, you know, Billy Mackay still scoring goals at his age as well, and Billy Dodds has got them playing well, and I think this would be an unbelievable season for them getting to the final. Although, as we discussed yesterday, Ruffy, you know, whether it's Rangers or Celtic, you know, I think the other team, no discredit to them, but Rangers or Celtic should spank them.
They should on the day. You would expect that to happen, but I don't think Inverness or Falkirk would let that worry them now. They've got a full, I can't remember when the final is, but both sets of their fans have got all that to look forward to. It's going to be a fantastic next 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whenever the final is, you know, for them to get behind their team, and it could give them a wee push as well in the league, you know, a bit of confidence building as well. But it's a fantastic build up. If any club gets to a final, you just want to enjoy every minute of it, and even the 90 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was a game I went to see. It was the final, Rangers Falkirk at Hampden. Pretty sure it was the Scottish Cup, and it was a difficult game for Rangers. I think No1 scored a bit of a wonder goal from outside the box, and that made the difference. But, you know, Falkirk turned up. They played well, probably in the Premier League at that stage, right enough. But, you know, it wasn't an easy game for Rangers by any stretch, and they came in numbers, fans-wise.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about it. Families come out if you're into the final as well, don't you, Ruffy?
Well, no, I was joking there that it would be 20,000 for Falkirk, but I hope we go down the road that they're honest enough to say how many tickets they need, and if it is 15, 16, 17,000, then you give them the amount of tickets that they want, and if they don't sell them, you know, quite rightly so, you hand them back and you give them to the opposition, and they can use them. So I hope we don't start having that, oh, you've only got an average gate of 4,000 or 5,000, why are you wanting 20,000? You know, because they're there.
Yeah.
You know, they've got and anybody they can attract to the final is spectators they can hold on to for the next season. You know, so you can attract people in that 15,000, you know, and it can help you the next year.
And we always talk about Rangers and Celtic games to the far better occasions when it's a 50-50 split. And it's the same case in the final. If you had the majority of Rangers fans or the majority of Celtic fans and a minority of Falkirk and Inverness, it wouldn't be the same occasion. It's good when it's almost an even split.
Yeah.
It gives it a better atmosphere.
Absolutely. What are you doing June 3rd?
Is that the final?
Yeah.
I'm on holiday, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Alan Woods just says it's June 3rd. Also, what I was going to say, what about that for knowledge? 2009. Rangers Falkirk. Just time is
Could
flashing
you tell us
by
the
crowd
manager
on that
No
day.
idea.
Oh, it's a good.
I just think Alec Totten with a big.
No.
Who come on with a kilt? Somebody had a kilt.
Kilmarnock, was it not? Was that not
No,
Kilmarnock?
I think Alec Totten did come on with a kilt with it, but
I know it was a Kilmarnock did as well. I'm trying to think who that was as well.
yeah, we're going to see you start it, and then we have to go back through it and then try and see who it was. It was John Hughes.
There you go.
There you go, John Hughes.
I couldn't imagine Yogi in a kilt
Eh?
at Hampden.
Tell you by the way.
Oh, I remember that game. There was another game he fell out with the referee or something. He ran onto the park.
With all due respect,
that could have been any game.
You're trying to narrow it down for Yogi. He's
I
arguing with
remember
Granny.
the final he ran on and he.
Yeah.
Can't remember what happened.
Anyway, the one thing I would say to you is Celtic and Rangers needed that like a hole in the head. I wonder if they're happy at that, because it's winner takes all, isn't it? I mean, for Rangers it's the last chance of silverware. For Celtic it could be, you know, they're looking at it and saying, okay, there's the treble.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Celtic have got the two, you know, that, and if they were to get beat, I'm sure they'd be disappointed, really disappointed. But for Rangers to get beat, it is the ultimate, you know, disappointment, because we've already seen the fans are demanding that they want trophies. They're waiting too long to get trophies, or they got one last year, but they think they should want more. And a defeat there would, I think it would just, season would just explode with everything behind the scenes that we're seeing there now.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, everything that's going on, the supporters are complaining about what's happening upstairs, and they're not happy with the signing policy, and they're not happy with the signings. And if you were to lose that Rangers Celtic game, that would just explode.
Well, in my mind, Neil, I think it's a situation where quite simply they would take if you're a smart board, you take the longer term view rather than the knee-jerk reaction of, granted you don't want to lose two cups and be put out by your great rivals, but it's not his side.
Well, this is the big question as well. As I was actually going to say, if Rangers don't win the Scottish Cup and don't qualify for the Champions League, does that mean that the team and the management team has been a failure?
Well, they won't.
Van Bronckhorst won the Scottish Cup and qualified for Champions League, and he was fired. So, what is the criteria for a successful manager?
Well, the criteria.
Or do you take the long-term approach, like you say, and say, okay, well, the manager can bring his own players, new players. Maybe there's a bit of progression in terms of a more aggressive style of play, a more attractive style of play, and you let that go. Because to be fair, they did give Steven Gerrard a bit of time to win his first piece of silverware. So.
They're definitely giving Michael Beale a chance to build a team. That's a stonewall certainty.
But then the question is, why did they not give Van Bronckhorst a chance to build a team?
Well, because the reason why is because I think they actually looked at the team and thought it's just not going in the right direction. I thought they were really slow, predictable. Drawing games they should never have been drawing. They were off the pace right away. I just thought at that point that they were probably looking at the bigger picture and saying, this isn't happening.
Do you know, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that decision either. But it's a bit...
What was the criteria? One rule for one rule for the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the other point I would make, and I'm not Michael Beale's defence lawyer on this one, but I would say that he's inherited a team, some of them that he would never have played, but he's got to try and get an ounce of something out of them. The one thing I would say is they'll get the qualifiers. Although whether they get to it or not, I don't know. Although
he's inherited a team that was also of his own making. Gerrard's players are also quite a number in the squad. They probably aren't.
That's a great argument, Neil. I mean, honestly, it was Gerrard's team, but you'd think that Michael Beale was the actual power behind the button with some of the narrative that not orchestrated maybe by Michael Beale, but by some people you would have thought Michael Beale was the power and the light and the truth and the way, and that was how Steven Gerrard's team won it. With Steven Gerrard's team, he was just a coach following the manager's rules.
Yeah, I mean, I'll temper it by saying I do think Michael Beale was an excellent coach, and the performance that they played against Hibs was incredible.
Yeah.
Really fantastic performance and real good brand of football. But it's just the question of, where do you draw the line? As Ruffy said, if Rangers don't win trophies, then fans are not particularly happy about the situation. So,
do you want me to give you a line? Do you want me to give you the line?
Go on.
I'll tell you what the line is. They get bumped out of the qualifiers in the Champions League, and by the end of August, they're 9 points behind Celtic already. Somebody goes. Then they start getting squeaky bum time, and if it gets to October, November, where the fans are absolutely raging because they're so far behind, and they're looking at the team and thinking it's just not producing, then you start to get to it.
I think ultimately that what you say is it's fans that get managers sick. Ultimately, if there's fan unrest, then that leads.
I think at this moment in time, the fan unrest is directed upstairs. I don't think it's directed at Beale at the moment, and. That's where they're focusing on it, and I think the director of football is getting a wee bit of gypped as well, so they've got a chance to rectify that by bringing in better players, and I think if they do that, the fans will give them a bit more time.
I don't get me wrong, that's a great point you make, because I'll tell you right now, it's a fine line, because as we've been talking about with Rangers, this is the point of the semi-final. I mean, Rangers fans will be looking and saying, okay, lost that cup final to Celtic, could only manage the draw at Ibrox, couldn't see it out 2-1 ahead. Looking at the teams, some people saying, there's not a big gap, other people saying there's a huge gap. They've got a massive squad, they've got 50 million in the bank, you've got to turn around that team with 9 or 10 players going out the door. Ruffy, the biggest pressure for me is the board. They've got to come up with the money and the investment to say to him, by the way, you want to build a team? Here's the money.
I think, though, in fairness to the board, they have supported managers in the recent past, like Steven Gerrard, Van Bronckhorst to a certain degree, and I'm pretty sure Michael Beale have funds. Radiskin and Cantwell are both good signings. They've both improved the team when they play. So, it's recent examples of players that have come in, hit the ground running, made a success of it. So if Michael Beale does get the opportunity to bring 3, 4, 5 new players in the summer to enhance the squad and be players that will play in the starting 11 and make a difference, then perhaps it will be a successful season. But as you say, it's cutthroat, and ultimately, fan unrest causes manager turmoil.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if Rangers lose the semi-final to Celtic, the noise, as you say, the rumblings will be getting louder and louder, but that's still to be determined. It's a semi-final. Who do you think's going to win it, Rangers or Celtic? Who do you think's going to win the other one? Inverness or indeed Falkirk? That's how the semi-final draw all panned out. Certainly exciting. We'll be back towards the Scottish Premiership at the weekend. And don't forget, Ruffy, you're going to be with me on Saturday.
Yes, I am. Saturday afternoon, yeah.
Because Tam's out on the guzzle. That's not good, is it?
No, it isn't.
It seems to be creeping in, by the way, with you and him. You know, if it's not a wee holiday or a break, it's a chance for a free bevy.
Yeah, well, obviously you can't turn these things down.
Yeah.
They're far and few between, you know, but I really do hope he doesn't try and phone us at between 4 and 6 after I'm having the hospitality for 12 o'clock. You know, that could
absolutely.
be a bad...
It could be a very difficult one. We'll not be taking any reports from Tam, that's for certain. But join Ruffy and myself on Saturday, 4 o'clock till 6. We'll be giving you all the latest from the Scottish Premiership and the lower leagues in Scotland. And we'll look at the English Premier League as well. Keep you up to date, a wee bit of banter here and there. We'll engage with you on the feed on our YouTube channel, and you can also catch us on our Facebook Live on the Saturday afternoon, so it's well worthy of it. And if you're on your phone and you're going anywhere and you want to tune in, you can do, watching it live on the app as well. So from the Scottish Cup semi-finals, give us your thoughts, lads, on the Scotland squad. Here is the squad in full, announced by Steve Clarke. And it's Clark, Gunn, Kelly in the goalkeeping positions. Liam Cooper, Grant Hanley, Jack Henry, Aaron Hickey, Nathan Patterson, Ryan Porteous, Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, Stuart Armstrong, Lewis Ferguson, Billy Gilmore, Ryan Jack, John McGinn, Callum McGregor, Kenny McLean, Scott McTominay, and then your forwards, Che Adams, Jacob Brown, Ryan Christie and Lyndon Dykes. What do you make of that, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, it's as expected, more or less. And I think in some ways that's the strength of a team and a national team, having access to the same players, all the players knowing each other and having a good team spirit within the group. Probably as expected, you know, Scotland aren't the kind of team that's going to score a pile of goals in each game, but they're very well coached and very well organised to compete in every game they play.
Yeah, and Ruffy, you're well versed on goalkeepers. Suddenly we're in that transformation from 3 really good quality experienced goalkeepers that we had with Gordon, with David Marshall, with Alan McGregor, to now it's 3 who are not tried, tested, trusted just yet. Angus Gunn has been brought in. We knew that yesterday, and suddenly his name has been unveiled in the team. And then you've got Zander Clark and Liam Kelly.
Yes, I think the manager's got a big decision. You know, as you said there, at international level, none of them are really tried and trusted, you know, so he's going to have to maybe watch them in training, you know, see how they are, you know, and obviously the goalkeeping coach might have something to do with the selection as well. But when he makes a decision, I don't think there's any trying out. Whoever he picks as number one's number one, you know, none of this. No, one in and one out, and one game and another game. I think it's too important.
Did that happen with you?
No, not when I played, no.
No, did you get a run of like maybe 20 games and then...
Yeah, I got a run, I think it was 28 or something like that. But
yeah.
we won our first 17 games that I played.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
From what would that be?
76. For 76.
76 was the first time you managed to break through?
Yeah, we had a right good side then.
Yeah.
You know, Joe and Kenny and...
76 till when?
76. I don't know, it would only have been about... I would have said we played 2.5 years or something.
Up until 77?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah?
We never got beat.
Wow.
Never got beat.
It's good going, isn't it?
That's incredible.
You wouldn't get that now.
Very difficult in this day and age.
Yeah. Good shout, Ruffy. So you're saying you don't want one in, one out. Who's your one?
Well, exactly. I don't know enough about the boy Gunn. You know, obviously rave reviews down in England. I think the Hearts goalie's done particularly well coming in for Craig Gordon. I mean, some of the saves that he's made this year have been Craig Gordonish. You know, so I would like to see him getting a chance. You know, not just because he's been on our show and he's been very good. that shouldn't sway it. But no, I think he's had a really, really good season.
Yeah,
and it's worth a shout.
Who gets your shout?
Angus Gunn, I think, just by virtue of the fact I think he's probably playing at a slightly higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Norwich?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
It's a sad indictment of our game, isn't it, really?
well, you know, they're ex-Premier League team and they're doing okay in the Championship. And yeah, I think he's been consistent this season. So,
Yeah.
but I think as Ruffy said, I think, you know, you've got to choose one.
Yeah.
And give them the faith and the confidence to go and play.
Don't worry about disagreeing with Ruffy, by the way. I do it every week, Neil. It's fine. You'll get into that zone where you get used to it. Ruffy, if anything, you're looking at the one omission that probably a lot of people will be screaming out. It's a strange situation. We mentioned there, you know, the likes of Tierney in there and Robertson. No Greg Taylor. And when he was asked about it, it was a strange situation. He just said it's not for him to say, it's a Celtic matter.
Well, it's either he comes out and tells us what it is, or Celtic come out and tell us what it is, because he's just thrown it up in the air, hasn't he? He's left it open there, and you would think that, I don't think Greg Taylor would respond to it, but I think Celtic have every right, unless there has been a conversation, you know, that we're not privy to, you know. And
there's almost certainly been a conversation that we're not privy to.
Well, they've left it hanging up there, so now what happens is, you know, if nobody comes out and gives us the reason, then we are all speculating.
Yeah.
We all start not making up stuff, but we start giving an opinion. And your opinion might be miles away, so unless somebody comes out and gives us the definitive, then we can deal with it.
Yeah, it's a strange one, but again, you know, it's not unique suddenly that a player is not available for the squad or not selected. Could be that the club are looking at certain games that are coming up and thinking, well, there's no point in him going there. He's not going to play since Robertson and Tierney are there. Is he going to sit on the bench? Are they happy to have him sit on the bench? Because he did play, you know, in the last game for Celtic.
Yeah, I think from a personal point of view, the player would always want to go with his national team and be involved and be part of the setup. Maybe from a Celtic point of view, and as Ruffy said, it is speculation. Perhaps the player's been carrying a little bit of an injury, albeit he's playing every week and putting himself through the pain barrier. Maybe he needs a bit of rest and recuperation at Celtic. Want to look after him, make sure he's ready for the coming games. Who knows? But I can only assume that's maybe partly an issue.
Yeah. Steve Clarke has dug his heels in sometimes, a couple of times, because the rule is, if it's an injury thing, you turn up to the Scotland squad and we make the decision whether you're playing or you're not playing. So it seems unless he's relaxed that rule, you know, and it is, Celtic have said, as you said, it's an injury thing, but usually you have to report.
Yeah, but there was a situation, Ruffy, where, you know, Scotland managers, and I think I include Steve Clarke in the early days, committed himself to saying, well, if you're not playing for your club, you're not playing for Scotland, you've got to get regular football. Well, that rule was quickly kicked into touch.
Yeah.
You know?
As I say, we're just...
Kieran Tierney's not playing for Arsenal.
No, that's it. Well, if we were to narrow it down, we would have to say it's Celtic is saying, you know, he's carrying something, and, you know, we don't want him to go. And then he plays on the Saturday, then he plays on the Wednesday, and then he plays on the Saturday. So that kiboshes that theory of, no, he's carrying an injury.
It's a change, and if anything, unless there's been some... If there was some cordial agreement because of an injury, Steve Clarke would easily have said in a press conference, listen, here's the drill, he's picked up a knock, we don't want to risk it. We'd rather have somebody who was a left back who was at full 100% to come in and come on if indeed there was someone who got injured in the game.
Yeah, but I think, you know, as Ruffy said, you indeed said, we're not privy to any conversation, so it is speculation on our behalf, and you know, who knows what happens between club and country in terms of the conversation. But the upshot is he's not in the squad. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll find out, because no doubt we'll have to ask the question the other way. Whether we get an answer from it, only time will tell. I don't think there was any problem with Steve Clarke persuading Angus Gunn. This is what he had to say on selecting the goalkeeper. I didn't have to persuade him too much, because he felt as though that was his best chance of getting international football. It was just being honest that he would be coming in as one of the goalkeepers in the squad, and it would be up to him to force his way into the team if he was good enough to do that. None of the keepers have got any cap, so it's all to play for in the week. Everyone starts afresh, and it could be a big chance for somebody to nail down the number one spot. Okay, interesting times. You're going to go with Angus Gunn. You're going to go with
Zander
Clarke. I'll go Zander Clarke, and we'll wait and we'll see what they do in training. If it's as down to the wire as that, what do you make of it? Who do you think should be number one? Good to see Lyndon Dykes back though.
Yes, he was out there for a wee while. and he just came back last week there, I think, so he's going to get some games under the belt. I think he's, of our strikers, he's the robust striker. He's the one that bullies these bullies, you know, the opposition, you know, and if he's got somebody up playing beside him, they could get the benefit of that. And I like that. I've said that. I mean, I'm old school.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you?
I'm old school. When I get Scotland at home against anybody, I want teams to be bullied. I don't want them strolling about, you know, wee passes here and there.
Yeah.
I want a centre forward, not like Joe Jordan. I mean somebody who's going to put himself in there at the centre halves and they're going to go, what are we up against here?
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of teams come and we let them, give them the freedom of hand and to stroll about. So I like wide people. I like people who are bullying opposition, you know, and I think we've seen that in Dykes in a lot of the games that he played. You know, he might not be scoring goals or something, but he's causing havoc.
Yeah, okay. So you like him?
Yeah, I would play him, yeah, as long as he's got somebody beside him.
Okay, good to see him back from, I think he had a little bout of pneumonia as well, but he was back playing for Queen's Park Rangers as well, so good news for Scotland. Cyprus and then Spain, okay. Maybe 3 points out. Maybe 3 points out of the 6. Anything else is a bonus.
It is indeed. You know, you'd like to get your win against Cyprus, and if you get a draw against Spain, then that's a successful result. But it'll be a difficult ask.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The last time we managed to beat Spain, there was a really close 3-2. I can remember at Hampden Park, but it's been.
Did Morris Johnson will score against Spain?
I was thinking that, was that not France? Or it could have been actually quite a while ago, Ruffy, the last time we beat Spain. I'll have a look at that and see before we get closer to that game.
You just have to look at the Spain team from then.
Yes.
The Gavis and the Iniestas and the...
Yeah.
You could see why we weren't winning many games against them.
Exactly. Is that the best? Is that one of the best modern international sides you've ever seen?
I mean, the Spanish team that won Euros and won the World Cup, they were exceptional.
Yeah.
The brand of football was good. You know, 'cause sometimes Greece winning a tournament in the Euros, it wasn't a particularly exciting brand of football, but Spain deserved to win both competitions and they entertained along the way.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I think if I was putting up the 3 best countries who've ever won a major tournament, I'd certainly have Brazil, 1970, Ruffy. Then I'd have Spain closely following them in the second place. Third place, I'm sure you could pick a German side along the way, couldn't you?
Probably a German side.
Yeah.
Dutch.
Well, Dutch team, the Euros, 88 maybe. But no, I think I would go with definitely that. I'd be toiling for a third if you came up with one. France team.
Yeah, France 84.
Yeah. Platini.
That's the one.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Although the best team not to win, in my opinion, the World Cup was Ruffy's vintage of Brazil 82.
Oh, I know.
I watched the highlight of that game the other night. I can't believe they lost that game. I can't believe they lost that game against Italy.
I know, it was unbelievable. Paolo Rossi. The one thing I do remember about that, Ruffy, is he managed to get a lifetime supply of free Italian shoes after knocking them out. You think I'm kidding? He did. He'd come back from a 2-year ban with Juventus and he knocked them out. I mean, I was a young lad at the time. I was absolutely gutted that they knocked Brazil out. What a team that was. Scott Brown was talking today. It's ahead of, I think Scott Brown and Mikael Lustig are involved in a big event at the Hydro for Celtic fans. He was out speaking today, and it's been a while since everybody's heard Brownie and his thoughts. Certainly he's got that Aberdeen connection when he was there under Stephen Glass, and he knows Barry Robson well. They played together at Celtic, and he had this to say about Barry Robson as a potential next Aberdeen boss.
Robbo's done a fantastic job, and it was always going to be hard for Robbo because he went in just after Glassy left as well, and it was hard for him. And then he's went in just after Jim's left, so it's maybe his opportunity this time. He is a young manager, he's keen. He's definitely earned his badge. He's been at Aberdeen for that long, learning under Derek McInnes and all the way through there. So for me, there's probably no better man at this opportunity. He loves the club, he understands the club, and he wants the club to get better, and he's got that drive to do that as well.
Well, nice to see Brownie with a full head of hair. I mean, that's just he's just changed that psychotic hairstyle he used to have to this more appealing, calm Scott Brown, the Fleetwood manager.
this time next year, you might have hair like mine.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that's it. When you become a manager, maybe you become a bit more sane.
Yeah, well, what's going to happen next, Neil, is if he becomes a manager for any great length of time, that lovely crop of black hair will suddenly go grey as the worries kick in, Ruffy. I mean, I think he's got a rude awakening as a manager now.
Yeah, I think we all want him to do well. You know, they're not sitting in a pretty place just now in that league. You know, they're getting a wee bit near the bottom. So let's
He's done well in the cup, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, but he'll tell you the lifeblood is staying in that league.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't want to go in there in his first year and get relegated. You know, that wouldn't go down well. So no, I think they'll keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He's actually up raising money for the Celtic Foundation, and of course, the question that was put to him today was, of course, when he left Celtic, does he wish he stayed on a wee bit longer?
For myself to leave at the time, it was the right time for myself to leave. I knew I wasn't getting any younger. I wanted to go and explore a different avenue, and that I went and done. I learned and as much as I possibly could in that short period of time up in Aberdeen about becoming a coach. But for me, it was always going to be a hard decision to make to leave this club that's been fantastic for myself and family over the last 14 years. And
yeah, it's strange to actually it's strange to see him in an interview situation up here again. I would be loath to say he was mature, because when he was at the latter part of being the Celtic captain, he'd certainly calmed down, taken that more mature outlook to it. Didn't quite go the way he wanted at Aberdeen.
No, he didn't, but he knew within himself the avenue he wanted to go, and if Aberdeen was his choice, then fair enough. You know, he went up there and experienced it, what it was like to be in a different environment, and as he's just said there, it's obviously helped him to move along into being a manager. So, you know, it does look changed a wee bit, but I'm sure if you put a jersey on him and threw him out in a park, he'd turn into somebody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, absolutely. There's still that will to win from him. I was just wondering, I mean, it's slightly different for you because you had to curtail your career through injury, but there is a moment, I always remember Paul Hartley had said when he was at Aberdeen that he felt as if, I'm going to call time now, because he was coming up against players who were just getting that yard closer to him, getting that tackling that they wouldn't have, getting nearer to him when he was a midfielder, and Scott Brown probably had that look up at Aberdeen as well, where he thought, suddenly there's somebody that I wouldn't have seen him away is starting to mix it with me.
Yeah, but I think that's the player's own decision to make. You know, as you say, I think Scott Brown would probably have fancied playing every week at Aberdeen rather than being indifferent in terms of being in and out of the team.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's the player's choice, because, you know, players are responsible. They know themselves if they're performing at the level they're used to or not. So yeah, I mean, you know, maybe it was taken out of his hands a little bit with a change of manager, and he was taken out of the team, and that would have hurt, I think, because he was a fantastic player and a fantastic captain. And I'm pretty sure he'll do a good job down the road as a coach as well. Yeah,
the only man that I know in the current game, Ruffy, who hasn't had that thought in his head as he gets older is Luka Modric, who's probably standing on the park, especially on Wednesday night, thinking, I don't think they've sussed me out yet. I've got all the time and space in the world. I mean, for his age, he just seems to have mastered how to avoid anybody clattering him in the middle of the park.
Another Croatian, Robert Prozinecki, was the same. Yes. He was a good age and 40 fags a day, but he still had that football intelligence and ability.
Did you play against him?
No, but I remember I was 16, 17, Red Star played Rangers in the European Cup.
Yes.
And they were fantastic. I think they won it that year, actually.
Yes.
And then 3 years later, Darko Panchev and a central defender, Nadjovski, were at Sion when I arrived there. So, but yeah, they were an incredible football side, and Prozinecki was out of this world.
Yeah, I covered that game actually, and they were an unbelievable side. And the amazing thing about you mentioning Robert Prozinecki, when you said he's 40 fags a day, I thought to myself, wow, had they cut down then? Because I remember standing trackside, and Barcelona were over here for a friendly, and Sir Bobby Robson was trackside, and he was chatting away about football, and I said to him, I love your number 8. He was playing for Barcelona at the time, and he looked at me, and I'll never forget, you know, Bobby Robson's accent, which I can't do, and he went, 100 fags a day, son. But by the way, Ruffy, just like Modric.
And you know the thing was, there were roll-ups. Honestly,
Is that right?
Yeah, there were roll-ups. They weren't real filter fags, they were roll-ups.
Yeah. If you are of a certain young age, don't do roll-ups or normal ones. That's all I'm saying to you. I hate to preach on here, Ruffy, but it's not ideal for a footballer. I mean, Johan Cruyff and many others of that generation would smoke cigarettes, and not the right move.
Not my generation was John Robertson, Scotland games.
Yeah.
There's many times we'd be on the team bus leaving to go to Wembley or whatever, and we thought there was a fire in the bus up the back, but it wasn't. It was Robbo.
Although one thing I would say, it's a cultural thing. So at Rangers, Van Vossen and Albert smoked, and playing in foreign clubs, a lot of the players smoked. They don't drink, but they smoked.
George Albert smoked.
Yeah,
George was a great player, wasn't he? Such a nice man, George.
Gentleman.
He's the only guy I know that actually had to come out. I think he holds the world record for coming out to about 32 press conferences in a row, because none of the rest of you lot would want to come out and speak to the press. And he used to come out, and I used to say to him, "Oh, George, not again, man. I mean, is there anything, have we got anything left to say to you?" You know?
He's right, you know. Graham Souness told me that story when he was at Sampdoria. They go way up in the hills for training. And then after the train for a couple of weeks, the coach would say, "Right, I'm going to give you a day off. Just want you to go into the village, just enjoy yourself." So Graham would be going, "Oh, great, into be hostility and have a few drinks and that." But as soon as all the Italian boys get into town, they're in corners just having a cigarette and an ice cream.
Yeah.
That was their luxury. No going into a pub and getting drunk.
Not a good idea. Don Clark, thanks Don for this, by the way. I was actually going to look it up, but November 1984, a World Cup qualifier was the last time Scotland defeated Spain, and you're right, Ruffy, 3-1. Mo Johnson scored 2 and Kenny Dalglish got the other, and the Kenny Dalglish one, if my memory serves me correct, was the throw-in, turns the left foot into the roof of the net, wasn't it?
That was like his last game. It was at 100th cap.
I think it was certainly something like that, because I think if not, I'm thinking to myself it might have been his 30th goal to equal Dennis Law's record, something like that. But a great shout from Don. Thanks for looking that up, Don. Really do appreciate that, because you're right, Ruffy, that's a long time ago since we beat Spain.
So it is.
And it will be even further after the 2 games. Dave Cunningham, who's a regular who watches the show, Ruffy, you know Dave, don't you? He says, "Good morning, Peter." He sent me this little message, and he says, "Could you wish my dad a happy birthday today, the 14th of March, on your show?" George Cunningham is 85 years of age, Ruffy. 85, loves the show, watches it. Dave watches it regularly, so happy birthday to you, George.
Yep, happy birthday, George.
85.
And many more.
Yeah, just don't light the candles. It's as simple as that. And by the way, somebody says Fleetwood are 15th in a 24-team league. Looks as if he'll be okay. So that's good news for him as well, Ruffy, to be perfectly honest with you. Always like people they just do their research and keep you on your toes. Certainly you anyway. From your questions, where's Alfredo Morelos going? He says it's not Seville at the moment, denying the rumours, but he's going.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll go. You know, he's played at Rangers, 4 or 5 seasons. He's scored a good number of goals. He's probably thinks he's done everything he can do at Rangers, and he's looking for a fresh challenge. He's still 26, you know, so it's a good age to go on a free transfer somewhere. I think the difficulty for Morelos will be expectation. You know, does he expect to go to top club in a top league?
Seville is a good side.
A very good side. So, you know, if the Seville rumour's true, then that would fulfil his dream, I think, of playing in a top league at a very good club. But it remains to be seen if it's something that's going to come to fruition.
Did Rangers miss a trick here with this one? Should they have done a deal or got rid of him earlier? Or was the pressure of the other circumstances of chasing the league titles too much to bear?
I think it's difficult. From a Rangers sense, okay, in a certain way, perhaps you should have put the player under pressure to sign a new deal earlier and retain the value in the contract.
But you win the league under, let's just say, let's play the devil's advocate here, and this is where a lot of Rangers fans are well miffed at the way this has been handled. You win the league under Steven Gerrard. You know, Rangers are flying high. He's had a good season. Sell him. He's got 2 years left in his deal. Sell him, and then you've got let's just say minimum, and I'm not going to get into an argument over with the Rangers fans over whether they think he was worth 10, 20 or whatever. Let's just say minimum they get 10 million. You could still go and buy the best of a Scottish player and someone else from the continent, and you'd have two players in there. Whereas they've really taken gambles on. Cholak's come in and he was ideal for them. But you're saying to yourself, other than that, it's been Morelos has always been the kingpin over the 2 years when you really wanted other stronger options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly about the timing, but I believe there was an offer from Lille of a significant amount of money, whether that's 10, 12, 15 million pounds. I think at that point, you've got a decision to make. You know, do you trust your scouting department to bring a player of equivalent quality for a fraction of the cost and bank the money? And very quickly fans forget about former players if somebody else is scoring goals.
Yeah.
You know, Furuhashi's come to the club and he's the next hero that Celtic have got, you know, and Rangers the same. If Rangers found a goal scorer and come in and make a difference, then he's the new hero, and they forget about Morelos. So yeah, I mean, I think you know, it's always that's the knack of it, is selling when the time is right and the price is high. And Celtic have had good examples also where they've lost money, or they should have sold players earlier.
Yeah.
And in this case, I think Rangers are the same. They should have probably sold him earlier. Now he's going to run the contract out. But you just hope they've got good use out of him over 5 years.
Yeah, I thought they should have sold him, Ruffy.
There was a time, there was a window when he'd thrown the dummy out the pram, and you know, he was going away and not coming back for deadlines and all that, and it looked as if he just wanted to be away, you know, and his stock was high. But again, it's a gamble you take. You know, you have to have that bid on the table, and you're looking at it and you're going, well, just say if we're talking it was 10 million and somebody says, no, I think he's worth 15.
Yeah.
Let's just hang on and we can get another 5, and then you hang on, and then you hang on too long, you know, because he hasn't really, he has wee spells when he's in everybody's favour.
Yeah.
You know, and then he has spells when he's not in the,
but there wasn't enough pressure
favour.
when he wasn't in favour. There wasn't enough pressure from someone to come in and say, I'm buying you the goals, forget about him, because Kemar Roof was just injured.
Yeah, but I think the difficulty with Morelos and Rangers playing one striker, so at the start of the season Morelos isn't the team, Cholak's in the team, scores a lot of goals, but that puts Morelos' nose out of joint. So what kind of personality is he? Is he the one that buckles down, wants to get back in the team, or does he decide, going to throw the toys out the pram a little bit? Then he's back in the team with the new manager and he's scoring goals. You know, that's great, that's what he does. I mean, sometimes he can have an indifferent game and he scores goals, and that's ultimately, if the Rangers fans are happy if he scores goals and they win 3 points. And now he's not in the team, so how is he going to react to that with his contract running down?
Yeah.
Cholak's in the team now, he's scoring goals and he's playing pretty well.
Yep.
But if there's an injury to Cholak, can you rely on Morelos to come in now after his nose is put out of joint twice in one season? That's a management issue, and I'm pretty sure Michael Beale will deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't done enough to make Michael Beale think about picking him, and that's straight from the manager's mouth. Okay, you can give us your thoughts on all of that. We'll give you the competition coming up very shortly again. Chance for you to enter. Good prizes this time around this week. And we'll also give you the answer to our quiz question. Champions League football to look forward to. Of course, everybody looking at the fixtures for Tuesday and Wednesday night. If you're in control on a Tuesday and Wednesday, do you get away with watching 2 nights of Champions League football? I wonder. Porto against Inter Milan, Manchester City against Leipzig, and then it's Napoli, Eintracht and Real Madrid against Liverpool on the Wednesday. So I reckon, Ruffy, I'm going to save my joker card for tomorrow night to see Real Madrid against Liverpool. You know, you and I will have a wee bit of tennis tonight, although I'll come back for it. Man City should have enough to see off Leipzig. Yeah,
Manchester City at home, you know, have got the players, you know, to go all the way in this one, but I don't think this would be a worry for them tonight. You know, I think they should win this one quite easy. Yeah,
there's a lot of people saying with the money they've spent, Man City should be winning the Champions League. Even Pep Guardiola knows all about the pressure of delivering the big one.
Absolutely, be judged for that competition. Yeah, definitely. Because since day one I arrived here in the first game in Champions League, they asked me when just arrived, landed here, sitting for the first time, you are here to win the Champions League. I said, what? So I was manager for Real Madrid, that this is not going to happen, but I could understand, but here, I don't know, but I accept it, so.
I mean, it's a great answer, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you, but when you have almost a state-owned club, I expected them to be in with a shout. The problem, I think, has come with, yes, he knows how to build a team. Yes, they play a certain brand of football. Sometimes, even at the absolute top level, you know, it hasn't gone according to plan, and some of his recruitment at times, not playing with a 9, has cost them dearly. This season, I think they've got the 9. Whether they've got enough to get past Real Madrid, who for me are just still formidable.
Yeah, I think that will be the key matchup. I think, as Ruffy said, he fancies them to beat Leipzig, go to the next round, the next level. They do have a 9 this season. They do play a particularly good brand of football. I think when you come to Champions League and at that kind of level, at the very end, culture of the club has got a lot to do with winning games as well. You know, Rangers and Celtic sometimes go over the winning line but not playing very well because a real desire and expectation to win. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool to a degree, Manchester United, they've all got that from a historical basis. And I think Man City are building a new recent history, and each year they become better and slightly closer to that holy grail. So this season will be a big season for them, and they've got the tools to do it. Albeit Real Madrid are, you know, probably the team to beat.
Yeah, I actually thought, Ruffy, I was thinking this season, I think at the start I thought, this is it. They've got Haaland, this is it, this is the season for them. But having watched Real Madrid dismantle Liverpool, I can't see past them. I mean, they're just outrageous.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Real Madrid defence could be got at.
Yeah. Are you going to go for Man City? I hope you do. Go for Man City. Do you know why that would please me, Ruffy? Because you are to Champions League football predictions that I am to Bali.
No, but the reason I'm saying the Real Madrid defence can be got at, because we witnessed it. I mean, Celtic got at them for the first 2 minutes of that game in Madrid.
Yeah.
They never for the other 88 minutes, but they got at them for 2 minutes. Right at the start of that game, they went, wow, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Oh, 3-0.
You're clearly watching a different game from the one I was watching.
At the start of that game in Madrid, Celtic were brilliant over there.
Yeah.
They were shutting them down. They had a couple of chances.
It was a joy to watch. I mean, and again, listen, they did to Celtic exactly what they did to Liverpool as well. They're a major force. Who's your tip?
Madrid,
yeah. Can't see past them, Ruffy. Who are you going for?
I'm sticking with Man City.
You're going to be Man City?
Yeah.
Brilliant. That means they're going out. If you have money on Man City, ask if you can get it back. Ruffy's tipped him. He's been Paris Saint-Germain for about 9 years. The other game that I think has got the dark horses, Napoli.
Yeah, I mean, they're having a fantastic season, but again, for them, it's been built up over the last couple of years. They've been becoming better and better.
Yeah.
And they've got Frankfurt, who, you know, Rangers lost to them in the final of the Europa, and Frankfurt are doing particularly well in the Champions League, but you'd expect Napoli to beat them.
Yeah, Eintracht are out. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. What about the competition? Still plenty of time to get your answers in.
We have another superb competition here at PLZ Soccer. You can win one of our very own Maestro tops from the PLZ Soccer shop, along with a poster of Celtic legend Danny McGrain or Rangers legend Davy Cooper. All you have to do is answer this simple question: which year did Scotland last qualify for a World Cup? Post your answer in the comment section below, and when we pick our winner, we'll contact you to find out which poster you would like and which colour of Maestro top you would like to wear. And don't forget to double your chances of winning. Hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Kerry, as ever, just wishing you the best of luck there. Thank you very much for that. Don't forget, if you get a chance, you can join us 4 o'clock till 5 every night, Monday to Friday. But if you don't see the live show, you can watch it at your leisure. It's on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. There's so much content, managers, players, interviews. Of course, we've got lots of great features. Got a fantastic feature coming up next week that I know you will not want to miss. We'll be giving you details of that a little later on this week and how you can tune into it. But we've got one-to-one specials. Gothenburg great John McMaster, Alan Burrows on the way ahead at Aberdeen. The answer to our quiz question, of course, Angus Gunn included in the Scotland squad. Brian Gunn was his dad. How many caps?
7.
7.
8.
6.
5.
6 was the answer we were looking for. Did you get it? If you did, good luck to you. We'll have another quiz question tomorrow. Thanks to Neil, thanks to Ruffy, and from myself, Peter Martin. Hit the subscribe button if you can. Download the PLZ Soccer app. You'll get all the latest breaking football news. And Tam McManus will be back with us tomorrow on the show from 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.